Hi, Dr. Max Parfit inside the FULmax test bed, and what I'm going to show here is the process of taking a Revit model through to LumenRT and viewing in real time inside the FULmax. So we've got a big model here, we've just taken a section box around it, we're going to go to our LumenRT options and we're just going to pick, I don't know, farmland will do, and we're just going to hit start. So this is going to spin up the LumenRT exporter as usual. We're again just waiting for our licenses to come through from Select, so we're just going to fire it up in evaluation mode. That's not a problem, and you'll see LumenRT now starts up. So the latest update from the guys at Bentley now has a configuration file. So if LumenRT opens and finds the configuration file, it'll then spin up in FULmax mode. If it doesn't find the configuration file, it'll just start as normal. But the upshot of this means that users don't have to go and do any configuration themselves, it's all just there and running. So I'm going to drag this through onto this monitor here, just so I can use it a bit more effectively. And we're just going to look for our model, which is where? So still learning how to drive. We've got two clipping planes on, let's take those off. And there we see our model in at the bottom. So, just as usual, we're navigating here, but now what we're going to do is we're going to start the FULmax plugin, and there we have LumenRT running in real time. So I can navigate in, I can come through, zoom in, add in section planes as I wish, but the upshot of this is it's all rendering at real time speeds. So again, still learning to drive LumenRT. So let's come down to the ground floor. So very quick to move and navigate around. If we go into walk mode, we can then walk around the building, go upstairs, things like that, just like we would if we were playing a computer game. So whilst it's not the fastest to manoeuvre around, when you're static, the rendering does come up very nicely, so you can see exactly where you're at. And I'm going to go into animation mode, and there you can see it's playing back a pre-existing animation that we had, so it's just got a section plane coming up through it, and then we'll keep moving around. So the reason there's not much model, we just put the section box in, but it does mean that we can very quickly get from a Revit environment through into the FULmax and use LumenRT in real time. So that's fantastic. Just going to step out of animation mode, come back into walkthrough mode, but we can then do things as we would normally. So let's take those clipping planes off. We can then change the lighting in here, we can change the environment variables, so time of day, spin the shading around, and it works, which is fantastic. Really good job from the Bentley guys. There's us back in the building at life size, so it really does feel like I'm in this classroom environment. One of the interesting things that we've started spotting is when we go to, say, output our movie and try exporting the clip, in the settings here under the format, when we set it to 360 VR panorama, what we're ending up with is a cube map rather than an equirectangular spherical image. So whilst it's fantastic we can render out the 360 video, if I go and show what that looks like in the FULmax with a rendered 360 video, is we suddenly find we are, sorry, just have to navigate to the right folder. FULmax builds 360 video player. So if I take our 360 video player here, when we're playing back the video, we'll just jump into the 4K version, you can see, because it's a cube map rather than an equirectangular spherical, we don't get the joins as we would from the software. So that's just a tweak that needs to come through, so when you render out to YouTube and places as well, you get the same box issue. So that's the only issue that we've currently got there with the 360 rendered videos. But as I say, when we're running in full Lumen mode, it's brilliant. We can just manoeuvre around and it's all done in real time. So cracking job, Bentley guys. This means that we can get from any of the associated softwares into the FULmax in real time, and you saw how quickly it went from Revit into here, and that is absolute game changer. Really good job on the camera perspective work that, as you can see, if we have a look at the edge now, so Steve, if you can concentrate on the edge, you can see that we've got perfect stitching between the screens. So if I now rotate the image slowly, you can see that those are perfectly mapped over each of the edges, so that, and again on the other side, perfectly stitched. So the software is absolutely spot on, and it means that we've got, even on the rear screen, perfect stitching everywhere. So that is exactly what we needed. The projection is correct. The 16:9 aspect ratio is spot on. We are there. Well done, guys. Oh, that was the only last niggle. I remember my niggle now. If I change the size of the window, whilst it doesn't change the rendered output, what it does change is the user interface scaling on the front screen. That's the only niggle I've got, but to be perfectly honest, it's extremely minor as a niggle. I'm wondering if it's even possible to remove this user interface from the front screen, because we don't need it on the front screen. Otherwise, that's my only niggle. Nice one. Really good job, guys. Thank you.